We are live. SB Talk Sports Real Takes Over Fake Debates. Let's get into it. Coming at you live every Monday and Friday. Sean, what's going on? How you feeling today, brother?
Man, I'm good, man. How you doing, man?
Just another day. You know, I had a long day today. I might be possibly doing a live stream on it tomorrow. I might be on my Cat Williams lick tomorrow because obviously, you know, the show don't stop because it's 2024. We're gonna keep everything pushing. I usually let the stuff and distractions slow stuff down. We got a special guest in the building today too. Yeah, my long story short, and we can go depth tomorrow. But yeah, so I got a picture sent to me that my little cousin got locked up. And he ain't little like not a teenager. He's like 2 years younger than me. So I'm 30, about 20. So he's a grown, got darn man. He got locked up and then he used my name when he got locked up. So I had to go to the police station to clear my name. So I'm gonna be going to court. So my day has been kind of long today, you know, pause, but you know, I'm cool. How about you?
I'm good, man. I mean, I didn't have to go down to the police station, so always good. But yeah, man, no, listen, you know, glad you got everything cleared up.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, hope your cousin's in hiding because I wouldn't want to see you right about now.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I might have to put him in the headlock. So it is what it is. But also, if you are angry or you're a little tired off energy from running around, go to swiftenergy.gg, use code RTOFD to get 20% off your order every time you order. But I'm not gonna waste no time, man. So I'm ready to get right into the show. The special guest that I got, he's very known. Me and him debated plenty times on TikTok. We went at it. It's GOAT James Kingdom. Subscribe to his channel. The content is fire over there all the time, even though I think you love LeBron a little too much, but that's a different story for a different day. We got Johnny of GOAT James Kingdom in the building. I appreciate you coming on the podcast today, brother. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you, SB Talk Sports. Appreciate you, Sean. Thanks for having me on Real Takes Over Fake Debates because, you know, I don't bring nothing fake. I keep it
that's
good.
Thank
you. Go James Kingdom, y'all.
Go James Kingdom. You know, you already know. You have been exposed by the exposed. If you already have not have seen that on the TikToks, you always cook up every time. Now, I can always say, I never doubted your takes. I can say you be a little bit more biased to LeBron, but I can never deny, say, like, he don't have a real take. Because sometimes people don't understand the real takes over fake debate thing. Like, ain't nobody take gonna be 100% right. Everybody ain't gonna 100% agree with you. But if I tell you something and I bring facts behind what I'm saying, well, how can you argue? And I ain't never went through a point and I was just like, Johnny's just up here bull essing on this or bull jiving over here on this TikTok saying anything. I can't never say that with you, brother. But
I appreciate that. As much as I try to get inside your death book every week, as much as I try to get inside.
Look, hey, people been wilding because I set the book down for a year. I was chilling for a couple months. I had to bring the book back out. I think the book should return. But we gonna get right to the show. Let's go ahead and get into it. So last episode, we had a situation where we talking about the LeBron cycle. Obviously, I said I'm not gonna put it up on screen. I want none of our face to be blocked. But the LeBron cycle pretty much was like how LeBron be passive aggressive. He trade everybody on the team. And then people, because like the team lose, they say fire the coach. LeBron try to give them a better team. They get a new team. They get better. but they overachieved. Me and Sean both agree that you can tell me if you disagree or not. We feel that the Lakers team last year kind of overachieved, making it to the Western Conference Finals because there wasn't really a Western Conference Final team with no time to really gel, injuries, but they highly overachieved. And when we look at that, I feel like this situation where the LeBron cycle doesn't work in LA, and the reason why it's more and more forced every year because the Lakers fan bases is not used to just winning one chip. They spoiled, bro. They got some of they top 2 in banners. So they want more than one, or at least want you to compete more than one. So we have people who label LeBron James' run with the Lakers a failure, even though he won a championship. So do you feel the LeBron cycle of like gutting the roster or trying to get the team better or gutting your future to win a championship at the moment? Do you think that's a bad thing to do with the Lakers?
No, that's the Lakers. That's what the Lakers always do. That's what the Lakers have always done. That's what the Lakers are. It is the Lakers. That's why he went there. He knew if I'm going to end my career, I'm going to go to a place where they're always going to try to win, no matter what.
Yeah.
I don't care about no future. It's the Lakers. It's the Lakers.
I can't get mad at that because but the Lakers fans are so spoiled that it's a day-to-day thing. And I know it kind of be tiring that like, one day, like LeBron just dunked yesterday. Because we had the episode, was it Friday? That's when LeBron had the 12-point game. They got bad. Oh, this team trash. Let it go. LeBron just go coast to coast, dunk on Paul George. Look,
we back, baby. We back. We back. We back. I'm feeling good
with that. I'm like, bro, it's such a frustration, but it's crazy with that. But go, Sean, you got anything to ask Johnny about the LeBron cycle or the Lakers?
No, I mean just to piggyback off SB's question. I mean, when you think about LeBron's career, right? He's always been someone that kind of had everything very centric around him. But now in year 21, there seems to be, I think, kind of a power struggle, if you will. Do we still, run it through LeBron? Do we run it through AD? How do we kind of move ourselves, off of being so LeBron centric this late in the career? Do you see that as part of the struggle with the Lakers?
A little bit, right? Because LeBron is still so great. It would be easy if LeBron was just mediocre, but he's still great. So it's like, where does Anthony Davis come in at? That's always been my thing with Anthony Davis. Does he really want to be the leader, or is he comfortable in this spot to where if they do lose, or if everything does implode, it's not his fault. It falls all on LeBron. You know what I'm saying? He understands that. You know what I'm saying? He got his money. He was supposed to be the guy. When they got him in 2019 off season, going into the 2020 year, he was supposed to be the dude. Everybody said LeBron was going to LA for movies. We're 6 years into that, and he won a in-season tournament, in-season MVP, and a championship. Was in the Western Conference twice. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Pelinka's just not that good of a GM. He's not as good as Mitch Kupchak or anybody else that they had before. Jerry West. That's just the facts.
Yeah, no, and I ain't mad at that. But I'm glad you brought the in-season tournament up. How do you truly feel about? I know you debate with the people at LeBron because at the end, accomplishment is accomplishment. So take this not the GOAT. This not a GOAT debate discuss. You know how I feel about the GOAT debate.
Yeah.
But how do you truly feel about the in-season tournament?
I mean, it is what the NBA wants us for it to be. New level of competition for the regular season. Yeah. It's a regular season thing. It's in season. It's just for the regular season. If you are an NBA fan, like I always tell you guys, you should like it. You should appreciate it. If you're a casual and you're still stuck in the 1900s, you're not gonna like it. That's just it.
I ain't mad at it.
It's nothing else but that. Because let's just say the Lakers don't make the playoffs. And somebody gonna scream, well, at least they won the in-season tournament? Nah. It was a good feeling. I wish we can go back 3 weeks ago. It felt really good. It almost feels as good as LeBron dunking on Paul George last night.
I didn't mad at that because it like when you look at that point, because in the beginning of the in-season tournament, it was like because I watched basketball all season, I watched different games. So I'm like, I done seen good games. Y'all only pay attention to like the casual fans. Y'all only pay attention to the mainstream games and be like, oh man, the regular season boring. And then now all of a sudden we paint the court. Oh, they just playing so hard. I'm like, no, they was doing the same thing last year. Y'all just didn't watch OKC play. Y'all didn't watch the Sacramento Kings play in the regular season. Y'all didn't watch, but no, I can't say Chicago Bulls. We was trash. But you didn't watch these other teams who play hard all the time. But obviously, the perception to see what I give Adam Silver credit for is the perception that he gave people was like, oh, the color. Look at the color of the court. It's a close game. They playing so hard. They literally playing the same way that
No,
they
they
usually
did though.
did.
You got to say that they kind of did. Normally around this time, it's true. They don't play
Yeah.
hard. They're just geared around. Everybody's building chemistry, the idea, team identity, and stuff like that.
Mhm.
This gave them something to really play for, and the court changed everything. The uniforms, it was a big deal. Going to Vegas, the crowd was into it. It was, you know what I'm saying. People were complaining that the pandemic games were no crowd, but when you take them to Vegas, you see there's a crowd. It was in season tournament, atmosphere. It was playoff atmosphere during those games. I wish they just didn't have regular season games in between the tournament play. I wish they just played the tournament straight out for whatever 2 weeks and then go back to the regular season.
Bro, Johnny, you hit the head on what me and Sean talked about this all the time on a couple episodes of RTOD. We just treat it like March Madness. In-season tournament month. Every game of the month matters for that. And that matters because I don't want to watch Tuesday. Oh, they went hard. Oh, it's season tournament. Then now they play again Wednesday. They playing a game that don't matter. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'd rather have it straight through. I agree with you on that. 100% agree. But then, with LeBron accomplishing the NCAA tournament, that's something he achieved as a Laker. We got to ask the question: where does LeBron rank as an all-time Laker? Me personally, me and Sean personally, we talked about this last episode. Check the last episode. We talked about it. We talked about the LeBron cycle. We feel that LeBron might be around that 7, 6 maybe range. Top 10 for sure. In the bottom of the top 10. Wherever you put Wilt at, I think that's where LeBron should be at. Accomplished a lot of individual things. Won a championship. Obviously, NCAA tournament, that's 2 championships. I mean, and a half. 0.5. He got a 0.5 championship. You know what I'm saying? So where is you ranking LeBron as an all-time?
First, let's start. Are we counting George Mikan?
I think you have to, right?
I mean, we have to.
You count championships from Indianapolis, so you got to count George Mikan.
That was a shot at Michael Jordan's fan page of the band.
Oh,
they
okay, all right.
Don't worry. I'm clipping for you. I got you. I'm gonna clip it for you. I got you.
But let me tell you something. I ain't gonna lie. I don't know. I said Magic's number 1, Kobe's number 2, Kareem and West. You can flop, but they're 3 and 4. Then there's Baylor, so that's top 5. Then what? You have Shaq, Will, Worthy, LeBron. I mean, do we go with Mikan? Do we go with Gail Goodrich? Yeah, Gail Goodrich. Who else can we go to?
James Worthy.
Yeah, I said James Worthy. AC Green.
Nah, I might take Bron over AC. AC.
No, Bron is definitely 10 though. He's definitely there. He's definitely 10. Yeah, but he would be after Shaq and those guys. But again, he is still playing. Now here's the real question: where does AD land?
AD might not be top 20, top 25.
Is AD in that Pau Gasol conversation?
Yeah. Yes.
Because I feel like he's gonna get his jersey retired just because
he played with LeBron. That's why he played with LeBron.
Well, I mean, he was a big part. Listen, he was a big part of winning that championship in 2020, obviously. And I think you could have argued probably in the first few games of the finals. A lot of people don't remember because they didn't watch it because it was in the bubble. But AD was really putting up some numbers. Now, LeBron kind of separated himself, I think, in those last couple games, particularly one where Jimmy Butler was out. Jimmy Butler went off, but so I think he's in that Pau Gasol conversation. I don't think he's top 10, but I think he's going to go down to probably top 15.
Yeah, I can see that maybe, but only problem with AD is that yes, he won with LeBron. Yes, that bubble run, he was elite, but I just feel like so many games that he missed, the availability is a problem for me because I'm like, besides that, what has he accomplished individually while he had a Lakers jersey on?
1 All-Star, 1 All-NBA, 1 All-Defensive Selection. That's really it in the MVP. I mean,
that's not.
in a championship. That's really it.
I can't give him that.
That's all he really has.
Pau Gasol had 2 rings, multiple All-Stars. Pau Gasol run was that?
No, he was supposed to win a rebounding championship. He didn't.
Yeah, he didn't do it.
Yeah,
he
didn't play enough games.
And I would think just right off top, like Michael Cooper should probably be higher on the list.
I agree with that.
Higher on the list.
I agree.
You
Michael
know,
Cooper should be there as well.
you
Yeah,
know,
you're right.
Yeah.
so I think there's some guys that probably not talked about enough. Um, you know, who are all
Mhm.
time great Lakers who obviously had their jerseys. I know Jamal Wills' jersey is retired, but
Mhm.
Michael Cooper, who probably will get his jersey retired, I think if he gets in the Hall of Fame.
Man,
Uh, you know, so
we
um,
should.
so anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So obviously, you see that I put in the chat. I said, go subscribe to my brother channel. This is Goat James Kingdom. Almost to 2K. Get my boy to 2K. If you're not seeing Go James Kingdom, subscribe to the channel. This is great content over here. But a part of having great content, you have controversial content. So this is my boy Go James Kingdom short, and he did an all-time top list. When we did the all-time top list here, you got
Mhm.
LeBron, Wilt, Jordan, Russell, Kareem.
Yes.
Right there. Yeah, right there. This is what I want. Pause it right there. Boom. Why is Kareem at 5? I know Sean love Kareem too. I think Kareem should be no lower than 3.
Hmm.
Why is Kareem my dude Jabbar at number 5?
Now I did make a slick comment to you telling you to keep Michael Jordan at number 3. So
I
that,
don't,
that
yeah,
might
we ain't get to that part. We ain't get to that part. That
okay.
Kareem
All
at
right.
5 is blasphemous.
Okay, you guys,
Blasphemous.
listen. You guys have to understand. There's one part of my criteria that is separate from how I do it with Goat James Kingdom, which is very subjective because I cannot measure these things.
Okay.
And that's like leadership. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Things like that are hard, and I think that that's the one knock I have on Kareem is his leadership. And the 4 guys ahead of him, it besides Michael Jordan, have the leadership, right? Well, not even Will. Will doesn't.
Well,
have
I'm
the
gonna say,
leadership.
I'm
Yeah, I was
say,
gonna say Will don't have the
God
leadership.
awful
So yeah,
teammate.
I'm not
I'm
gonna
say,
say
we
that. All right,
used
so
to
let
spit
me.
on people.
So yeah, but that's the one thing I hold against Kareem is his leadership. The fact that he also played in an era where if I felt that if he shared it with Dr. J, he would stay around that 5 area. You see what I'm saying? And Dr. J would be exactly where, like, they would be there between that 4 to 5 range. Now, technically, objectively, you throw away my biases, Kareem is probably 2 or 3 behind LeBron or Will.
So both you, so you got
And that's
Wilt.
why I said that, and that's why I told you your boy Mike would end up being 4 or 5 if I really want to put Kareem where he should be objectively, taking away my biases.
Okay. Charlie, you want to go before I ask him?
No, go ahead.
Okay, cool. But even if you put them, I don't understand how Wilt is this high though. Because I know you love stats and categories. Kareem got multiple MVPs, multiple championships, and also I know you love stats.
Mm-hmm.
He finished his career at the point in time of his career top number 1 in 2 categories, 3 categories? Was it points and block? Was it points rebound? I know he finished his career
Points
in
and
2
rebounds.
Points and rebounds.
When Wilt retired, he was the number 1 in points and rebounds. He's still number 1 in rebounds.
So where did Kareem finish in number 1 in points and
blocks?
And blocks.
Yes.
So that don't count? Because I know you love people finish number 1 in categories and totals.
No, I do count, but that's what as of my mind, Wilt Chamberlain is number 1 in steals and blocks.
Yeah.
In NBA history. If he's not number 1 in steals, he's number 2 behind Bill Russell.
Mm-hmm.
So I see Wilt Chamberlain having 5,000 blocks, which the most is 3,800 right now with Akeem.
Mm-hmm.
I respect that. And that's being light. I'm giving him 5 blocks per game. When in reality they said he had anywhere between 10 to 12.
12, yep.
They said the ones that they had him recorded was 8 per game, 9 per game. So I mean, you know what I mean? Will is Thanos. He is legitimately Thanos. He's in another universe somewhere, terrorizing the Avengers. They don't want him to that portal that opened up in and Thanos' army came flying through.
That's
Wilt Chamberlain. That's Wilt Chamberlain, man. That's who that is.
I do. Yeah, so I agree with you on the physical domination of Wilt. Mm-hmm. What I always felt Wilt lacked, comparative to Russell, comparative to Kareem, was the mental domination of guys. Like if Russell even said that, he said the way he would deal with Wilt was basically, hey, we're gonna play Wilt straight up and we're gonna beat him, but once we know we got the game won, we're gonna let Wilt get his. Because if we don't let Wilt get his, the next game Wilt's gonna come back, he's gonna try to kill us. But if Wilt had a great game, Wilt had, 40 points and 45 rebounds, Wilt's gonna be in my mind. Hey, I did my thing. You know, I did what I did. So
sounds familiar, don't it? Sounds familiar, don't it? Don't it? Sounds familiar to SB, don't it? Don't it sound familiar?
Sound like LeBron.
Continue, Sean. Go ahead, Sean. You dropping knowledge. Go ahead, Sean. You dropping.
Sound like LeBron to me. That's what it sounds like to me. I broke. Hey, look, man. The facts here. Every time LeBron broke the record, he lost the game. That's all I'm saying. Facts is facts, man. Facts is facts. Facts is facts.
But no, I mean, so yeah, I think that's where a lot of people, when you talk about Wilt, just in the all-time pantheon, I think everybody understands Wilt was, and probably still is, the most dominant force we've ever seen, including Shaq. I love Shaq,
yes.
but Shaq didn't dominate defensively nowhere near the level of Wilt Chamberlain.
Nowhere near.
No.
So, yeah, so I think it's why some people tend to put Wilt down a little bit. I think if you have Wilt outside your top 10, I think you're crazy. But if you told me you got Wilt like 7 or something like that, I wouldn't, or 7 or 8, I wouldn't argue it.
I think I got Wilt at like 9 on my list. I have to check again. He at the bottom.
I have him 8 on my list. So
I can't with you, SB. I can't.
Hey, look, man. It's. I'm just sorry. I'm sorry, right? I can't look at a guy, and that's part of what Sean said, where it's like he can't have the mindset or the IQ to understand what's going on in the game, where you putting up 2K numbers and they're not effective. You putting up my player numbers is not effective. You can't tell me a guy giving you 50 and 20 and he had no impact on winning. That's bad.
They did. They made the playoffs that year and they were good. They lost to Boston Celtics. Because, again, Sean explained it perfectly well. He was going up against Bill Russell, who was one of the smartest players of NBA history.
Agreed.
There's actual footage going around right now showing how Bill Russell did exactly what Sean is saying. Let Wilt Chamberlain score. I mean, he wasn't even contesting Wilt Chamberlain. As soon as Wilt Chamberlain got the ball, he was letting him score because he understood it's a team game. Wilt could score the 30 or 40, but the team is not going to win that way. You see what I'm trying to say? So we're gonna play this way, and like he said, Wilt was so, like I said, he's Thanos. He was by himself. He didn't have 3-4 black players on his team like Bill Russell, so he can have someone that could relate to him on his team. I think Hal Greer was his only black teammate. You see what I'm saying?
Later on,
yeah. Then you have him being an extraordinary black man in the 50s and 60s, right? Every person around him wants something from him without giving him anything, and he has to act a certain way. We knew he was considered arrogant because, of course, he felt confident in himself. He was a smart man. He was articulate. Could you imagine being a 7-foot black man, smart and articulate in 1959?
Now you talking. Bang.
You see what I'm saying? So when he's playing like how he's saying it's about me, it is about me because at the end of the day, they blaming me anyways. None of my teammates really care about me. They don't want me scoring 50 points per game, but they're not going to help us win. I'm gonna put this up anyways. I'm Wilt. I'm Wilt still. Like I tell people, when he retired, the only person who had multiple championships besides him were people who played in Boston.
Right. Yeah. No, you're right. And there was a lot of you feel me? Different.
Had the two best NBA records in NBA history at the time as well, with the 67 Celtics the 67 Sixers and the 72 Lakers.
No,
he was a winner as well. He just was such a phenom. He was just ahead of his time that no one could understand him, and the only person who understood him at that time was Bill Russell. And that was his enemy. So Bill Russell used that against him. Being friends with Wilt Chamberlain.
I think he understood it, but also I think Wilt didn't do himself any favors, and we're just taking it off the floor. He didn't do himself any favors with a lot of his social stances, particularly.
He stuck to himself. He was I'm Wilt. I don't have to do nothing nobody wants me not to do. I'm gonna do it if I want to. That's why he won the assist title. I want it. You guys said I can't do it. I'm gonna win the assist title.
No, you're right.
Thanos.
Hey, I got him,
before we go, I had him 7th before we started GOAT James Kingdom based on nostalgia. But after doing all the research, because you Michael Jordan fans make me go look up stuff, I found out how great Wilt Chamberlain is. Now you have to worry about Wilt Chamberlain and LeBron when it comes to me.
And I respect that. And now because Sean and I know, and I'm glad I got a Johnny up here because brother Johnny, he cooks on a point of the knowledge of the stuff. So I got 2 questions off. One is gonna be a Jordan question. One is a serious question because Johnny, I like your man. I know you for the people, you for us. It's off script, but did you get a chance to see that clip from Cam and Mace podcast about It Is What It Is, and he was telling about how he feel that he is American. He's not necessarily African American because he's not necessarily from African American. I can tell you my opinion on how I feel about it. I feel that no, I'm not African American. I'm American. I feel like the society colorized us to make us label ourselves a color to minimize us because technically we are born here to take us from our spot. And since we truly don't know our history, that we'll say like, oh yeah, because they want to make us feel like we're from here. How do you know if you was from an Indian tribe that's from here? And do you think it's wrong for us in this society that we live in America where they label us black, they minoritize us, but then we go play for them in Team USA overseas? Oh, we just pure American when we had to go around our necks.
I mean, they've used black people since America's been incepted, right? Since they came over here, since they found out how to take ships to come over here. Then they needed us to get over here. They didn't know how to navigate no ocean. How do you think they got here? They got here because of us. So at the end of the day, you know what I mean? The thing is that you got to connect to your African roots. Now, the real issue with African Americans, you guys are in a special place. The reason I say you guys, because I'm a first generation American born. My family's from Haiti.
Me too. Yeah.
Okay, so when I hear African American struggle, it's different from all others. It is a different struggle. It is a completely different struggle, and there's a different history. So when Cam says that, I understand where he's coming from. It is a place of ignorance when he says it, because when you don't want to have the connection to Africa is where I have the problem. But associating yourself with America, you should, because again, your ancestors built America as well. You have a place here, whether it's a place that is of appreciation or being considered nobody, it's still a place that you belong as a black person, especially African Americans. If you had your grandmother was born in this nation, trust me, you should be here, because there's enough struggle your grandmother went through for you to be.
Facts.
That's just how I feel. So you know what I mean. So that's just.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Sean, you want to say some point on that too? I want your opinion on that. I forgot to put that in there because I supposed to been talking about that, but I'm glad that I had a Johnny on too. That was perfect time when it came up, because I know a Johnny for the people, brother. I had to get your knowledge on that. But Sean too, how did you feel necessarily about that situation on that too?
I mean, I'm a big believer. If you call yourself an African American, meaning you are someone born in America, but you come from African descent, but you don't know exactly where you came from in Africa or where your people came from in Africa, I can understand to a degree why someone may not want to necessarily use that term, because I think it trivializes it a bit. That said, I think sometimes there are people who go out of their way to minimize being black or minimize being African American for the purposes of assimilation. And if you're doing that, that's where I'll take issue with you, because no level of assimilation is going to make a certain group accept you anymore, right? Because the moment you do something they don't like, you just another N-word to them. So I'm not a huge fan of it when someone does that, but everybody I think has their own journey with that. I don't think there's we're not a monolith. I don't think there's necessarily a path that everybody should walk down as it relates to that. But to Johnny's point, I think it's incumbent upon each of us to do our research to figure out where do we come from, particularly if you don't have a family tie that says, like you, John, your first born, Haitian, her first American born Haitian. So that culture is still with you, and it passes to your children, because you're going to make sure that it passes to your children, regardless of who they may end up with in the future. So I think that's super, super important. But I think this is a much more nuanced conversation, and I wish before people make comments on it, they would at least do their research and do the work to figure out why things got to where we got. Where again, you need to identify yourself in a certain way, in a certain light.
I agree with that.
Great. I appreciate everything you said there, Sean. That was great. Just to throw shade at Cam's way, he's been running around with some snow bunnies. So you can't trust nothing he say. You can't trust nothing he say when it comes.
Hey, look, you ain't got to worry about nothing I say if I feel that way. My girl look like she from Wakanda. My girl is dark skinned. My girl is chocolate. So trust me, I like the girls like they from the motherland, brother.
Yeah, I'm single, but my Twitter bio says I'm so black, my action is affirmative. So
No
I
problem.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
But
man.
now back to the topic of basketball. Then we gonna get into the show. My last one too, because you made me think of it now, and I should have asked you. The more and more I notice, you can say that you learning more. But
Mhm.
Jordan is moving down on your list. First, it was like LeBron, Jordan, Kareem. Then next,
Yes.
no Wilt came up. Now you said Jordan down. So you got your list is LeBron, Wilt, Jordan, Russell, Kareem, Duncan. So my honest, keep it a buck. How
Yeah.
far is you gonna really drop Jordan?
You know what? As far as history says it needs to be dropped,
Oh, don't
really,
give me
I
that
really,
political. Hey, chill out, LeBron. Don't give me
man.
that political answer. Stand on your answer.
No,
You said
listen.
you finna drop Jordan again. We going
Listen.
5-4. What we dropping them at?
I'm gonna create a criteria and I'm gonna adjust it to help me get a better understanding. But when you really look at Michael Jordan's career, it starts to look more and more the GOAT status he got was based purely off of star power. The fact that he was the Wilt Chamberlain of the 80s and the 90s, and he was that during cable television.
I
That's
can
just
respect that.
it's just like Mike Tyson, Michael Jackson. You know, Eddie Murphy, you know, with all this new talk about Cat Williams, he said that he still has the number one concert movie of all time for stand up comedy, and that's
He does.
because it came out in 1987.
Yeah.
It's hard to compete with anything that came out in the mid 80s to the mid 90s. It really is. It's just something
Yeah.
about that era when it comes to entertainment.
Yeah. It was peak fandom around that time. Peak fandom, everything.
At its height. Granted, I love Michael Jordan. I think Michael Jordan's top five for sure. You should have him in your top five. And I don't argue with people who have him number one. I just get mad when they try to objectively put him at number one because I have yet to find anyone who can. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry.
and I respect that. My logic is this: Kareem, LeBron, Jordan, top three. I don't care which order you put them in. That's just me. If you don't say them three names first, that's when I have a problem. Besides that, if them ain't the first three names that go out your mouth, Kareem, LeBron, Jordan, I feel like them three guys, one, they dominated individually, and they at every players in the league, you can argue that majority of their career, they was the best player in the league and the best player in their position in the league. Because you can't tell me one time LeBron was not the best small forward in the league. Maybe early in his career, but once he actually took that peak, he was the best small forward in the league. And then once probably like 010 to like what a good stretch, he was the best player in the league. Then you go from Jordan, you could say from like his second year in the league, he was the best shooting guard in the league till he finished. When he really took off as the best player in the league, you could probably say 88, 89, maybe. Then Kareem instantly established himself from day one. You could probably say his second, third year in the league, maybe he was the best center. And then, like around that time, for a good stretch from that point, he was the best player in the league. So that's why I put them guys there for me, because I'm like, you have to fit every category because I ain't gonna lie. This is the first thing you're gonna hear me say this. I made sure I waited to use on the platform to say this. I feel that we anointed Jordan as the GOAT early, and we just anointed him because he was the first person to get labeled GOAT, which they should have put respect to Kareem. So he really didn't have no criteria of being a GOAT. But you can also acknowledge the fact we gave LeBron the blueprint of being the GOAT because LeBron was established when the first debate TV was established. So he hit what everybody debated. Oh, you need this to be the GOAT. You need this to be the GOAT. If you don't win this much, you got to do this. So I feel like we might have anointed Jordan the GOAT, but we gave LeBron the blueprint to being the GOAT.
I agree. I mean, again, it's a touchy subject for most people because it's a personal thing. Because, like I said, if I include my subjectivity, which includes the leadership and game impact and things of that nature that I can't measure, I can't see Jordan not being outside of number three. Like you said, it was going to be LeBron, Wilt, and then Jordan because Jordan's impact on the game. Oh, forget about it. It's so great. It's so great that it could actually surpass some other stuff that people did. Like Jordan's ability to change he gave us the NBA we know today. There's no big man NBA because of Michael. I know a lot of people are upset about it, but it's because of Michael Jordan. When they realized that little men could dribble and run around and look great as well, why not let them do it? So we're gonna create rules to help you. You guys are not gonna keep them from the rim anymore. Just because you're 7 foot, 290 pounds or 250 pounds. You have to play defense. You got to play defense. Then you're not just gonna hit them and then send them to the free throw line. And that's what changed the NBA. Then that's when we got all the great guards. That's when we got the Tim Hardaways, the Pennies, the Iversons. They all started coming in right after Jordan, and the league opened up for everyone to do that. So that's why Jordan. I always say his impact on the game. Forget about it. That would make him the GOAT, honestly.
Yeah,
that can't be measured. We can't measure that because then Stephen Curry would be number 2, or Wilt.
Yeah, that's a different conversation. I don't know if I put this my 10 yet. I don't know. Shaw, what you got Stephen
See, that's why I love SB. See,
I don't think
in your top 10, right? Steph Curry is not in your top 10, right?
Who can I take out? Who can I take out? That's the point people understand. Who can you take out to put Steph Curry? I'm not mad no more when people say he's top 10, but I still say no.
So you know where I stand on that, SB. I do tiers. I don't necessarily because I think what happens is at some point we're gonna have 15 guys, 20 guys who you could say, how is this person not in your top 10 all time? Mm-hmm. So rather than trying to fit 20 guys into 10 spots, I'm just gonna look at your career and say, did you have a tier 1 career when all is said and done? Yes. Mm-hmm. I don't want to say, oh well, I got, we did this, a few weeks ago, SB. Mm-hmm. I literally said I have Larry Bird as a tier 1 small forward. I have LeBron as a tier 1 small forward. That's not me saying they're equals. That's me saying I look at Larry Bird's career in the vacuum of it is, just like I look at LeBron's career in the vacuum of it is, knowing they'll never, ever match up. We'll never see them on the floor against each other because obviously they played in very different eras. Mm-hmm. Both of them are tier 1 small forwards all time. Simple as that.
And they got pissed at Sean when he did that, Johnny. It was like, how are you putting him at the same level? He's like, bro, he just said they got a tier 1 career. He not saying who better, but they got pissed at Sean. We had to do a whole episode on that.
NBA fans are the worst. NBA fans.
Oh, 100%.
They are the worst. They are the worst. Before we go to the next topic, you know how I do it, Sean? I don't know if I know SB is going to relate to this. I do it like it's 2K. There's only 7 players. If we did an all-time 2K roster, whatever, that would be 99s. And that would be LeBron, Mike, Kareem, Wilt, Bill Russell, Magic, and Bird. Those guys would be 99s. Like that. And everybody.
What about Shaq? Shaq was 100 on 2K before.
Shaq would be at 98 because of his. Don't they have like
free throws? They got doctor for the free throws.
Like, not the free throws. The durability. Just the fact that, like I said, Shaq, Dwayne Wade, Barkley, and Moss. Only if they ever really took their craft seriously, how greater they would have been. Yeah. All of those guys. They were just so talented. They just went in and did their job and went home. Even Iverson. If Iverson took his craft serious, how great Iverson would have been.
Ooh, you were not lying.
Carmelo, another one. Carmelo.
Oh my
I think
God.
Carmelo kind of took his craft seriously, but not enough. Like I said, there were guys, if they had the global Mamba mentality, they would have been the greatest without any question.
The problem with Melo, he cared too much about one side of the ball. And like people forget, Melo could have played early. Melo was playing defense. He could have been a player. Melo just cared about one side of the ball. One last thing before we go, because I know Shauna appreciate this too. And I like that I'm looking at your list that you got Julius Erving at 7. And I know obviously Julius Erving get put out a lot of top 10s because of ABA, NBA separated. But if you could just want to talk about just like honestly how really good Julius Erving was, and people don't talk about it. Sean, you too, I would love to hear your opinion on really explaining to people that how good Julius Erving really was.
I mean, if you want me to start, listen. You said Jordan was the GOAT standard. It was really Dr. J. If it wasn't Dr. J, it was Kareem or Wilt, depending on. It was a big man thing. But talking about stepping away from being a big man, it was him. He was the first guy to actually big men feared. They were like, oh my God, here comes Dr. J. How am I going to stop him? I can't just foul him because he's still going to dunk on me. He's that strong. So, and then his star power, because he was, people got to remember there was the white America and black America throughout the 60s. So going into the 70s, that assimilation that Sean talked about was major, and black people loved Dr. J. Kareem was a Muslim. It was questionable to deal with Muslims. You had to like Dr. J. He dressed well. He was smooth on the basketball court. He was smooth off the basketball court. But as far as just a basketball player, he was able to take the ABA to where it was at, to his highest heights, and then he was able to save the NBA when he came to the NBA because he just was that great. He was good at everything. When you look at his numbers, 30,000 points, 10,000 rebounds, 2,000 steals, over 1,500 blocks. I mean, like 1,000 blocks. Like, his numbers are incredible. If you combine what he did in the ABA and the NBA, it's no doubt Dr. J's top 10. If you take away his ABA career, then you can argue it. But Yeah, you have to, but you have to include the ABA because it counts.
Okay. Yep.
So,
I respect it.
I want to just put a little perspective on this. So the blueprint for Dr. J was actually Elgin Baylor.
Okay.
He was the first kind of wing who played above the rim, not
Yes.
nearly at the same heights of Dr. J, but
Mhm.
Elgin Baylor was kind of the blueprint for Dr. J and David Thompson and George Gervin and Connie Hawkins and these really super athletic wings who could. But Dr. J was different to Johnny's point. So here's what's funny thing about Dr. J. I could think of several guys I would start my team with before Dr. J.
Mhm.
But if I were starting a league, I would start my league with Dr. J
Mm.
because
Mm.
he could be the face of your league, and
Mm.
Mm.
he was that much of a force on the court, but like Johnny said, off the court, he got it, he understood it,
Mhm.
and it wasn't that he didn't have his demons and things. That's another conversation,
He
but
had
in
demons.
terms,
I don't know
yeah.
about no demons. Dang.
But in terms of just a guy, you say if you put him out there, he's going to represent well.
Yes.
It's the doctor. It's Dr. J. I mean, he was one of the first to have a signature brand shoe. I mean, him and White Walt Frazier, and guys like. But he was a different level. And I mean, you think about the age of the poster. He was kind of probably the first NBA superstar who was a poster guy. Who,
Mm.
if you put posters up on your walls at that time, it was Dr. J. I'll give you an example. The Cosby Show. In Theo's room, there's posters. There's Miles Davis and things like that. If you go back and you look at old episodes of
Mm.
the Cosby Show, there's a poster of Dr. J on the wall in the mid
Mm.
'80s. And Dr. J is at the tail end of his career at this point. He's not the same Doc because his last great season was probably '82, if we're being honest. But he was still that much of a star and a force that he's on the wall. So Doc is different, and I'm just gonna brag a little bit. I had a chance to meet him one time. I wasn't starstruck, but he's so that cool, smooth.
Mhm.
That's who he is with everybody.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing? That's how he is.
Let's
So
go.
yeah, yeah.
Let's go. Hey, look, I appreciate. See, look, I love appreciating. Obviously, that's why Sean, me and Sean do a show together. I appreciate talking to guys who love the game and have the knowledge of the game because we were supposed to just talk about 2 or 3 seconds, but once you get to talking with the basketball, now we talk about Dr. J and honestly, that's how I appreciate her. That's why I wanted a Johnny on and Goat James Kingdom, but we have to keep going on with the show because we got to get to
Yes.
football. Let's get into our last basketball topic. We don't have to go too crazy on it, but let's go to it. Warriors Draymond Green reveals that Adam Silver talked him out of NBA retirement. He said he was done. I don't never think nobody slap somebody else and then like, yeah, you know what? I don't even want to do this no more. And I'm the reason I'm suspended. You know what I'm saying? I slapped you, but you know what I'm saying? It's not you, it's me. You know what I'm saying? I just think we can't do the relationship. You the problem. Like, come on, man. But I think a lot of people saying Draymond Green playing the victim card. I don't think he playing the victim card. I just say that, you understand you make a mistake and the Warriors are on the tail end of their championship run. They're not as good because everybody thinks. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this because of Johnny here. Everybody thinks they're gonna have a Michael Jordan last dance run with their championship. We gonna end off on the top and boom. No, you still gotta play the next year. Everything is not gonna end off at the last dance. I raised the trophy and I retired. When you should have retired when y'all won that last ring. Oh, now it's hard. Y'all can't compete no more. That's why, your boy probably got more losses than he could have because LeBron could have just went off with a couple rings and left, came back, built a new team, compete. He could have did that. No, bro, you still have to go to the tail end. And this is the part of basketball that people don't understand. That's why a lot of you guys who are not fan of teams who always give me crap, oh, SB, how can you be a Bulls fan? Because I'm a fan of the team. Oh, they suck. No, that's a part of being a fan of the team. It's ups and downs, highs and lows. Y'all just jump on the bandwagon or whatever's hot. Y'all not a fan of a real team. And Johnny, and you and Sean really contest more because obviously I know you noticed that. I know you wore your 49ers gear because we're going to talk football. But Johnny is a Heat fan too, Sean. So he knows the ups and downs y'all went through with the Miami Heat when the team had Alonzo and y'all had to struggle. Then y'all get a young D Wade. D Wade, y'all make the run with Shaq. The next thing you know, D Wade keep getting injured. Shaq out of shape. Y'all go through a drought. Then LeBron comes. LeBron comes, y'all go through another streak, then y'all go through a drought, and then now y'all end up getting Jimmy Butler. That's a part of being a fan of a team. Draymond, this is the part of being a part of a championship team. You're not gonna be competitive forever. Nobody was competitive forever. The only person you could probably say that was their whole career was Bill Russell. And that was a long time ago. So, but what was your guys' reaction to this and Draymond Green saying that Adam Silver not retired?
You can go, Sean. You can go, Sean. I'll go after you, brother.
I mean, okay, and like when I saw the story, I was like, really? Like I mean, and so here's the thing, right? I think Adam Silver, if you know the history of David Stern was not a players commissioner at all. Silver
no.
is by far a very pro player, right?
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I was surprised they reinstated him as quickly as they did. I thought he would be out at least 20 games. At least. I think he's going to end up missing, I think, like 14 or 15 when all is said and done. And it's good that he's talking the way he's talking. He sounds like he, understands, where things are. But my thing, SB, don't tell me about the labor. Show me the baby. When you get back on the court, in the midst of a fight and you in the midst of competing, you got to show me that you understand there's a line, and here's the line I will not cross. And have you figured that out? Have you learned that? Because, again, listen, it's easy not to make it rain when you ain't at the strip club. But when you go to the strip club, you got to have some discipline. That's what I want to see. Do you have that not to make it rain?
Hey, I'm with you on that.
Oh my God, man! I'm listening to Sean talk, and I'm like, wow, this is why he said he was going to retire. No disrespect to you, Sean, but no. I think the media and basketball fans do these guys a disservice. If Draymond Green played in the '80s, he would be considered one of the greatest defensive players of all time because of how people perceive basketball players then. For some reason, we have this idea today's NBA soft, they're weak, they don't play defense, they don't do this, they don't have that. But Draymond Green is exactly what people say they want to see, and now we want to pick on Draymond Green, keep him suspended, keep him this, keep him that. Granted, he does a lot of crazy antics. I'm not defending that, but I'm also not the one that's saying the league is soft, the league needs to toughen up. I'm not none of that. So I think the game is where it needs to be, and I think Draymond needs to understand that as a player, because you can't just run around doing crazy stuff all day long, because like you said, you're frustrated, because I can see he's doing this because he can see that his team needs some kind of motivation, and that's his job. That's what Draymond's job is there to do. He's not there to be skillful. Nobody looks at Draymond Green and think, oh, Draymond Green's going to do this smoothly. Like, that's Draymond Green. He's from Michigan. You know what I'm saying? The man's going to do it rough. That's how it is. Pause. But that's just how he is. So, you know what I'm saying? But I just think he felt that, like, I'm the villain, I'm bad. I don't need all this bad attention. Like I said, these guys are rich, they're wealthy. He could retire and just move on with his life if that's the case. But I think the competitor in him says, I'm not going to give the fans and the haters anything on me. I'll be back, and we'll see where the Warriors go from there. They need him. They're not going to win anything without him, so they need him.
I mean, I think the only issue I had with Johnny was at times I think the Warriors, and I'm saying the Warriors as a team, act like this is 2017, where they had so much room for error. They had so much room to make mistakes.
You ain't got KD.
Yeah, you know what? And listen, we can turn the ball over as much as we want, no problem. We can take as many bad shots as we want, no problem. You know what? If a guy misses a game or Draymond gets suspended because he's hit the technical limit for the season, you know what? We're okay.
Bro.
This ain't 2017, unfortunately. The margin for error is now non-existent because you're older. Your team is not what it was in 2017. And if you still consider yourself a championship contender, then I think you got to get rid of that hubris of, well, we can just turn it on because we're the Warriors. That is no longer the case, right? No. It's like that actor who was hot in the 90s and it's like, hey, you know what? I was doing this in the 90s. I still need $20 million of film in 2024. Well, that don't exist no more, bro. Like, that's not the landscape we're in. Like, read the room. And I think that's the problem with the Warriors is they were so ahead of the game with small ball and the style they played and things like that, again, they built this hubris and they were successful with it. But we are now in a different state. And how do you make that adjustment? To me, the Bulls of the '90s are kind of the best example of that, right? The way they played in the early '90s, yeah, they ran the triangle and stuff like that, but they were more athletic. They get up and down the floor, they run you to death. You look at that late Bulls team, they are slow, they are deliberate, they're playing grind you out games. They're winning 79-75. Jordan's shooting 14 for 34. Like it won,
Yeah.
but they couldn't play that same way that they played in the early '90s because you're a different team and you have to embrace that. And that's what champions tend to understand. The Lakers did it. That early Lakers, '80s Lakers team, they went through Kareem. We're going through Cap. After '86, you know what? It's time for us to make that transition. It's time for us to go through Magic. Yeah, Cap's still a big part of what we do, but it's time to go through Magic so we can still. And I don't know if the Warriors have necessarily made that come to that realization yet. If you still want to be a champion, this is how you're going to do it.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Johnny. You got one more before we go to this football?
Yeah, no, I was gonna say I blame GOAT James haters for that because they made Steph Curry think he was better than what he really was when he won it. Before 2022, nobody had Stephen Curry anywhere near the top 10. As soon as he won that championship, there was he's top 10. That's y'all fault for putting him in places he didn't belong. He's the most luckiest superstar in NBA history. I'll just leave it there.
You know why they said it, because he beat your boy. He beat your boy most times. That you know why. You know why they asked him. But guys, before I want y'all to look at this bracket real quick. But the NFL playoffs is set, and then I want to get y'all opinion on the playoffs and ask who is the favorite. But this is the bracket of the playoffs right here. If it pulls up on the screen, there it goes. We got the Baltimore Ravens and your San Francisco 49ers. Both got bad weeks. They're the number one seed. We got Houston versus Cleveland. I'm watching that. That's going to be great in the AFC. We got Kansas City versus Miami. I'm going to watch that. That's going to be crazy. Then we got Buffalo Bills versus Pittsburgh Steelers. I got that one on upset alert. Then we got Philly versus Tampa Bay. That might be another upset because Philly ain't look the same. The Rams versus Detroit. Detroit better win. And then we got Green Bay versus Dallas. I want y'all to get a good look at this real quick before I take it off the screen, because just in case y'all say something nice, I'm going to have to clip it up. But when we look at the playoff bracket, y'all see how it's set. Who is y'all favorite? Johnny, who is your favorite to win the Super Bowl? And don't just say it because you got that Niners jersey. Say it with the chest if you go say it. But who you got winning the Super Bowl? And
bang, bang, Niners gang, baby. Listen, the Niners were the best team in football all year long. I know they got whooped by the Ravens, and that was definitely a great performance by the Ravens. But still, the 49ers, outside of me being a Niner fan, truly have the best roster up and down. They go in there fully healthy with their defense as is. I don't see nobody beating them in the NFC, and I also don't see nobody beating Baltimore. To be honest with you, as the season got to this point, the last month or so, those two teams have shown that they would have to have a bad game to beat them.
Okay. Sean, who is your favorite with the NFL playoffs being set? Who is your favorite? I can't hear it. Is that?
Who is that? We can't.
I can't hear it.
Can't hear it. Sorry, that's Omar coming from the Wire. It's the Ravens. It's Baltimore.
Oh, you got the Ravens.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, you got the Ravens.
Omar's
coming. Omar's coming.
That's what the Ravens play when they come in the stadium. Is that Omar coming? That whistle.
Okay.
No, it's the Ravens for me. They are the most complete team in football. What they did to the Niners, what they did to the Niners a couple weeks ago was very, very telling. It was very telling.
Yes.
Wherever they go, that travels. And again, and the thing is, I think Lamar is the MVP. I think Lamar's going to win the MVP. I think we understand why it's a quarterback award. I get it, but that team is so much more than Lamar now. It's talented. Where's their weakness? If we're being honest, where's their weakness?
They kind of do have a weakness that I don't think they have the thing about it is that they don't make the mistakes and they cost.
Yes.
Right. Exactly.
So they always keep themselves in the game, and that's always a crucial thing. And they have a good offensive line and defensive line, which is what you need. But yeah, I agree with you. It would take the Niners to beat them. So it would take another Super Bowl matchup between the two, and we would see at the lines who is really better than for sure. That would be a good matchup.
Yeah, I think that'd be solid too. That'd be a solid matchup. I hope we get that, but
and we'll see. Again, I like the Niners. I think the Niners obviously are the class of the NFC because Philly and Seoul, which is another conversation. But
we gonna get to that. I'm surprised he didn't pull up yet either. But I'm surprised Jackson didn't pull up
I
yet. But
was
he
going
probably
to pull
could
up,
be.
but you know what? It's fine. It's fine. You know, Cowboy fans are like their teams in the '90s. They be coked out somewhere. So anyway, point is, no, I'm kidding. No, yeah.
Oh, look,
No.
speak of the devil. There you go, right there.
Yeah, devil. Oh, hey, Action Jackson, put your cash app in the chat. Yeah.
I can't believe that.
Yeah, but no, we'll see. You know, I mean, again, I think it's going to be an interesting matchup. This weekend is going to be very telling. You know, we always usually have one or two upsets on Wild Card weekend. So, you know, we'll be very telling. But I think the Ravens right now are the team to beat.
Oh, for me, this is tough because I can say the Ravens, and I'm glad you said what you said because we're gonna have the MVP segment. Hold on, let me put it up here so you can get it for. Shout out, actually, Jack. They betted on John. They betted who's gonna win the division. Sean had the Eagles. Actually, Jackson obviously see that Cowboys hard headed. He got to hit the Cowboys. The Cowboys won the last week of the season of the division. And he almost when the Cowboys were trash. Actually, Jackson almost gave up. He was just gonna give him the money early. And then when they got high, he tried to tell Sean Bowell. So they played it out. And Action Jackson got the dub. So shout out Action Jackson with the Cowboys. But you know the Cowboys go Cowboy at some point. So Sean might get he might have to empty the wallet a little bit for a second, but he probably get the last laugh later on. But for me, you know, it was the telltale thing with the Ravens because I can say the Ravens are the team to beat because of their defense. And it's a little tougher in the AFC. And Sean, when we had the MVP conversation, I'm glad what you said because you said Lamar Jackson MVP, but he don't have to do too much. That don't sound very valuable to me, but I can tell you who's more valuable to him in the next segment. And the reason why I don't say the 49ers, your 49ers are Johnny, because I think they got an easy route to the bowl. I feel like it's nothing that can stop them getting to the bowl. Philly too up and down. You think the Cowboys are going to beat the 49ers in San Fran? Stop it. Detroit Lions, they just got here. I can't see them doing it. I don't see a team in the NFC that can challenge them. Unless Brock Purdy hurt his elbow again, I don't see them losing. Now, but we go to the AFC with the Eagles. I mean, the Ravens. I can see the Dolphins beating them. I can see the Bills could possibly beat them. I can see
the Dolphins.
Yes. The Dolphins can beat them. I know they lost Bradley Chubb, but the Dolphins have enough firepower. Because my question,
nobody that got 500 record. Where?
But listen, the point with the Dolphins is this though, right? Say if they attack that Baltimore Ravens defense like they usually do with their offense, and they put up some buckets, can Lamar Jackson keep up? Because Lamar Jackson ain't been putting outstanding numbers because he didn't have to. We can argue that he didn't have to, but now all of a sudden you just gonna turn it on and drop 30. You ain't been doing it all this season consistently, dropping 40. Because the Dolphins can put up a 40 piece easy. The Buffalo Bills, if they actually try to run the ball, they play way better when they run the ball.
Well, so SB, I would agree with you until a couple of weeks ago because when he needed to drop it against the 49ers, he did it. And then the next week, they went out there and smacked the Dolphins, and he was.
They did.
I mean, it was because of him.
No,
I mean, he was
like
that game. So you know, the truth be told, I think you know when we look at these playoffs, and I think we're going to just be objective. Every single team in the playoffs has one team they probably don't want to see, right? Because
they don't want to see the Browns.
I think the Ravens probably don't want to see the Browns because of what we know what the Browns defensively can do. And Flacco, as long as he's playing within himself, will manage the game well, right? He just got to manage the game. He can't go out and try to put up Lamar numbers because that will not end well for the Browns. So I think every team's got a matchup they don't want to see in the playoffs if they can help it. Now, I think there are going to be some matchups that, you know, those teams that don't want to see them, they're going to end up matching up. Because if you ask me, I don't think the Niners want to play the Rams in the NFC. I don't think they want to.
Yeah, that'll be tough. But can the Rams beat the Lions?
Don't let Debo come out to beat Debo, especially against the Rams.
Debo, they can do their thing. They can do their thing.
No.
Yeah, now.
Listen, not the Rams.
Yeah.
I'm more scared of Detroit than anything.
You know what? I think Detroit
too.
I think Detroit's interesting. The reason why I say the Rams is because of the familiarity. There's no wrinkles you're going to show each other because that y'all don't already know, right? Yeah. And they and Mike's son, because I call him Mike's son until he wins something. Mike's son
is crazy.
Yeah, shout out True King. Mike's
Mike's son
son,
is crazy.
they know each other, so there's nothing they're not gonna bring out anything that we don't already see. And somehow, some way, Matt Stafford this year has found the fountain of youth because he looked done last season. He looked completely done. So just the familiarity and those teams being in the division with each other, I don't think the Niners want to see the Rams in the playoff game. Personally,
Yeah. Now, my next question, because obviously I'm gonna put the bracket up one more time so y'all can see the matchups before I ask this question, so y'all see what's going on. Even though I know y'all know, but I like to show it so people can see. Everybody's more visual these days. Yeah, look at it. What what two teams do you feel that is the most dangerous? For me, I'm gonna go. I'm sorry. I will say both sides, but if you can say, because me, I don't think. I'm sorry, Sean. I know that the San Fran don't want to play the Rams, but I don't see no team or Detroit. I know you said Detroit. I just don't see no team beating the 49ers. But for me personally, I think the two most dangerous teams, and unfortunately, they are playing each other in the first round. So in the next round, one of them going to be eliminated, is the Browns and the Houston Texans. I don't think nobody want to play neither one of those teams. Because you got a quarterback in CJ Stroud who can make every throw possible at a young age, who can show that he can drive it down the field possible. If you give him time and do what he got to do, he can do it. And a defense is not nothing a pushover. Then you go to the Cleveland Browns, if not the best defense in the league, one of the best defenses in the league. Then now they got a quarterback in Joe Flacco who can manage the game perfectly. And when the Browns put you in position to score the ball and give you good fieldage on your own side of the ball, Joe Flacco showed he could put it in and put it in a score position. So I think, for me personally, I don't think it's no team dangerous in the NFC. I think the two dangerous teams for me is the Cleveland Browns and the Houston Texans.
That's interesting. I got the Bills. I think the Bills are the most dangerous team if you want to talk about underdogs that nobody's going to think anything about because of Josh Allen. Because if he plays bad, they don't look good, or he plays mediocre, they don't look good. But if he's Josh Allen that we all know he can be and he has been, they're really a dangerous team. They have everything as needed. I just think they just took a step back because I don't know why, but they still won their division. But they're dangerous. Buffalo could win in any environment, right? So they can win in Baltimore and they can win in Miami if they had to. So it's like they're really the most dangerous team. I would say them in Detroit because of Campbell. I really like what Dan Campbell has done. There's just certain coaches like Mike Tomlin that knows how to get their team prepared week in and week out. So you just never know. And Detroit actually has a good team.
Yeah, they do. Now Detroit is nice, but I think it's just their first run. And you are a Saints fan. Now you all of a sudden this Super Bills fan. Get out of here. But go ahead, Sean.
He loves Josh Allen,
I don't know why.
15
I don't know why.
rushing touchdowns. That's why he's 6'5",
Yeah.
6'7", 240 pounds. And
Yeah, he a big body. Sean, so who you got as your two most dangerous teams in the playoffs? Who you got as a team and like, I want to see them boys.
So I'm gonna pick one from each conference. In the AFC, I'm gonna pick Cleveland. I've been on the Cleveland train since the preseason, SB, about that defense, and obviously I thought they would have Deshaun Watson. It'd have been great if Deshaun Watson could have played in this game, going back to Houston. Kind of like Matt Stafford going back to Detroit. But that's another conversation. But no, I think Cleveland is dangerous. If Cleveland gets on a run, that defense and their ability to run the football, because again, this time of year, it generally comes down to, can you get stops and can you control the line of scrimmage with your run game and with your defensive line, and Cleveland can do that. And I don't know if he's going to win Defensive Player of the Year, but I have a hard time not believing Myles Garrett isn't Defensive Player of the Year.
He better win Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, I have a hard time not believing. I know some other people are going to say for some other guys, but he's been the guy that's been driving that bus all. So Cleveland is the team in the AFC. And in the NFC, I mentioned them earlier only because they have quite a few guys who have been there recently, is the Rams. They're the team that, again, they've been there. They understand how to get there. I think they probably are of the non-conference winners. They are the two teams that I would not want to see.
Who's the other team in the NFC? You said the Rams?
The Rams, yeah.
Rams,
because
they've
been there recently. And I know some of the guys, they had some roster turnover, but they got the quarterback who's been there, they got the coach who's been there. They got the defensive leader who's been there. Cooper Kupp's been there. So yeah, I think the Rams. I wouldn't want to play the Rams because they understand how to get there.
Yeah, no, and I respect that.
Wait, hold on, wait. Cleveland lost Nick Chubb this year too, as well, right?
They lost Chubb this year. Yeah, exactly.
They lost Chubb and Watson.
Yeah, but they've been rolling.
Playoffs, yeah, they're good. I mean, Garrett, that dude Garrett, he changes.
Garrett is a dog, bro. That's Garrett a dog, bro. All I said, just imagine if Chubb and Watson was still playing, or even if they just had Chubb with Flacco. Oh my goodness, Cleveland is going to be a championship contending team in the future. I'm sorry, because I don't see that defense going nowhere. They still going to be great. But speaking of something that's been the most controversial thing, I know this been controversial for you, Johnny, because you had two guys that have been in this conversation. And I'm going to go off my soliloquy because I'm going to ask y'all, who was the NFL MVP? And y'all, a lot of people ain't going to like my answer because I changed my answer. Because they took the week 18, should change my answer. And I've been rolling with this young kid, and I'm going to go back to this young kid. Because, Sean, you said something important in the last segment, and I'm glad you said that. You said, Lamar Jackson don't have to really necessarily do as much. So he just, because the defense is so good, he just got to, if they need him to do it, he could do it. That don't sound valuable to me. That don't sound like MVP, most valuable player on the team, because you can argue that the Ravens defense could be more valuable to the team. Offense is Lamar Jackson, no question. I'm not going to argue that. The MVP for me has to be, and especially after last night, is C.J. Stroud. C.J., if you're going to give it to a quarterback, if it's not a quarterback, give it to Christian McCaffrey. I know, John, that's why you looked at me like that. I give it to Christian McCaffrey. But if you're going to give it to a quarterback, you got to give it to C.J. Stroud. Here's why. C.J. Stroud took a team in the Texans who had the number 2 pick, who was god-awful trash last year, to the playoffs. C.J. Stroud missed 2 games, and that team did not look the same with him there. And they was finna miss the playoffs because they was on the run with the division until he got hurt. He comes back, put him back in playoff position to win. Right now, everybody loves stats. He has more passing yards than Lamar Jackson. He has more touchdowns than Lamar Jackson, and he has less interceptions than Lamar Jackson. I took a team that wasn't in the playoffs last year. As a rookie there, I got more yards than you. I got more touchdowns than you. I'm more valuable to my team. My defense don't look the same as you. So if you're going to give the award to a quarterback, give it to the guy who's more valuable to their team, because without them, they are not the same. Because you can still win a game or two with that, how good that Ravens defense is. C.J. Stroud for MVP for me. And I don't care if you don't like it or not, Tiffany. I don't care if you Ravens fans don't like it, because if you're not going to give it to CMC, don't do it. And I don't care about Dak either. Dak ain't getting it either. So I'm going C.J. Stroud. If you're not going to give it to who should get it, which is a CMC, if it's going to a quarterback, C.J. Stroud.
Yeah,
but
go ahead. I agree with you. I agree with you. I listen. I think CMC is the MVP. I think he's been the most valuable player. He's actually been the best player. I think if you put him on any team, he would have basically make your offense just as good as he's made San Francisco's offense. He's more of a difference maker than Brock Purdy with the San Francisco offense. I think if Jimmy Garoppolo was on this team with CMC, he would look as good as Purdy looks. Maybe not as better, because I do think Brock Purdy is better than Garoppolo, but he would still look good. He wouldn't be making all those stupid mistakes that we used to see out of Jimmy G. But if you're going to go to a quarterback, it's definitely not Lamar. So you would have to choose between Dak or Stroud, because you just made some good points about Stroud. I do fantasy football. That's how I know all these players. And Stroud has been really good. He has really, really been good. He doesn't have outrageous numbers, but like you said, being that he got them winning, that should be important, because they are winning and they're in the playoffs, right? We just said that.
Yes. No, not even better, Johnny. They won their division. When the last time Texas won their division?
10-7?
10-7. And they had the number 2 pick last year. They were trash.
Wow.
What's the key word in MVP? The V. Valuable. What changed? What dynamic changed? And I think they should get coach of the year too. What changed? Value. Who more value to their team? I'm sorry. I'm taking the young guy. I've been rolling with the Texans for this long. I'm gonna keep rocking with it again. But Sean, go ahead. Who's your MVP?
So I'm gonna give you a stat, SB. Since the NFL merger, excuse me, only one division has had all 4 teams finish with a winning record, and it happened this year in the AFC North.
Mm-hmm.
meaning every game in that division was an absolute fight. And
Agreed.
the Dolphins still managed to come out as the number one seed.
Agreed.
I agree with your point about value. Sometimes I think the MVP goes to the best player or the most valuable player on the best team,
Mm-hmm.
and particularly in a year where there wasn't somebody who statistically stood out or did something that we never saw and things like that. And CJ Stroud had a great rookie season.
Excellent.
Obviously, I think he's the fifth rookie quarterback to pass for 4,000 yards, fifth or sixth to pass for 4,000 yards. Um, but it's Lamar Jackson. It's a quarterback award. It's been a quarterback award since 2013. Nobody's won it. No other position has won it since 2013. Even though you could have argued for Derrick Henry, a couple of years ago when he hit 2K. Also, let me ask you a question, SB. Trivia question, and Johnny, you too, because you're here. Who's the only rookie to win MVP in NFL history?
The only rookie. This old school, correct? Right?
Yeah.
We talk. How old we talking? We talking like 80s?
Old.
Old. Ooh. Ooh. You didn't hit me with the history lesson with that one. I'm trying to think, and I bet I know the answer.
Eric Dickerson?
I'm sure you do.
Eric Dickerson?
It wasn't Eric Dickerson.
Is it defensive player?
No, it's an offensive player.
Am I close to the era?
No, you gotta go back.
Is that far?
Yeah, you gotta go way back, like Blackstreet.
Ooh, Mean Joe Green? Who we talking?
Motley?
No, wasn't Motley. You're in the right era, but not Motley.
Wow. He's the only rookie to win MVP.
Only one. Put up Tiffany's comment.
Oh, Jim Brown.
Jim Brown, only rookie.
Okay.
I was thinking Jim Brown, but I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know if he.
I was thinking Jim Brown, but I didn't want to. Yeah,
I was thinking Jim Brown too, but I didn't. Go ahead.
So,
yeah, Jim Brown.
Yeah, so it's hard to win and a rookie to win an MVP. Like they got to do something that we've never seen before, right? And if you think about even a second year guy, like Dan Marino won in his second year, Patrick Mahomes won in his second year, Lamar won in his second year. It's just it's just really, really hard. So yeah, I just think it's a matter of how many guys really set themselves apart. To me, this was not the season where somebody absolutely set themselves apart.
At quarterback for sure.
At quarterback for sure. Again, we understand CMC. I think we know CMC's value, but there was a season I went back. I looked at CMC's career. He actually had a better season. I believe it was 2018, if I'm not mistaken. 2018, 2019, where he had 100 catches. And I think he had over 1,600 yards rushing. So, so yeah.
But Sean, my only pushback for this because I want to talk on CMC. I want to cook on CMC some more. But the reason why I respect the division, right, of Lamar's division with the Steelers, the Browns, the Ravens, the Bengals. But my only pushback and why I X Lamar out now, because we look at the Browns. They were still good, right? Their quarterback is missing. Their lead horse running back is missing. So would the Baltimore Ravens still be the best team in the league? But that's a handicap. We go to Joe Burrow, Joe Shiesty, one of the best teams. Joe Shiesty's out for the season majority of the time. Did he really play the Bengals at full power? Then we go to the Steelers. Their defense was great. But their offensive coordinator was god-awful, was sabotaging the team on offense, and they have a quarterback who didn't know what they're doing on one side of the ball. So you can really argue that he was playing against great defenses, and that's why the team was competitive. That's why his numbers was lower than what they should have been. But, okay, if he's not really putting out substantial numbers, what could he compete if Deshaun Watson was playing? Nick Chubb was there. If Joe Burrow was there. So that's why I argue that with yes, your division was competitive, but you played them at 50%, 60%. That wasn't really as good. But I look at it, and that's why I say if that's the case, that's why I argue for a guy like CJ Stroud, where he was a team that was dead in the water. Nobody had expectations on the Houston Texans. Nobody even thought they was going to win 7 games this season. We just hope the best. And so now he overexceeded expectations. He probably was the best quarterback in his division with Trevor Lawrence there. He showed out in every game he needed to play. He had game winning drives, but I understand they ain't gonna give him to the rookie for narrative reasons. But then, so if we go for the narrative reasons, let's just give the guy who honestly deserves the MVP, and it's Christian McCaffrey. This is the year where no quarterback stuck out to me, Sean. No quarterback did, but you know who did? Christian McCaffrey. Every time I see Christian McCaffrey on the field, something happened. Something special happened. When he was on that offensive side, he made plays happen. No matter, you got Debo, you got Ayuk, Purdy. I don't care. You look on the other side of the ball. You got Chase Young, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, who stuck out the most for that 49ers team that make the difference, that say value to the team, was Christian McCaffrey. I believe Christian McCaffrey was hurt this year too at one point. How many games did he miss this year? Like 1, 2, or did he miss?
He only got played in one game.
He didn't play in one game, right? And their offense did not look the same without him. And they don't look the same when he's not off the field. So I just feel like if the NFL wants to keep the MVP as a prestige award, because if a quarterback win it this year and the stats don't show their value, I think it is, just change the award to most valuable quarterback, because it's not most valuable player. This is the year where you can actually put this award on the mantle saying anybody could win this award if you really try. Give it to Christian McCaffrey. He's the true MVP.
I don't think Lamar Jackson should win it just because he's the quarterback. I know I see you put it here. No one's won it outside of a quarterback since 2012. 2012. Mm-hmm. So I get it, because the last 10 years it has been a passing league, and it's been so dominant with where you had players like Mahomes and Cam Newton and all these great quarterback numbers that were put up these last 10 years. I get it. Mm-hmm. But there is nobody like that this year. There's no one quarterback that you can look at and say he was that much valuable. Dak Prescott is predicated on CD Lamb. Two was predicated on Hill. You know what I mean? Josh Allen, Diggs. Even with Diggs, they have elite wide receivers. So there's no real quarterback that I can look at and say, okay, you definitely deserve the MVP. It's really Christian McCaffrey, and they should do what the NFL normally does, go off of what they do. It should be McCaffrey. They should be.
Agree. Yeah, and my only argument about McCaffrey is I look at this season versus his 2019 season. His 2019 season was actually, in totality, probably better.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, he was.
But Sean, the quarterbacks was balling out that year, so it's like when you got quarterbacks. If we had like Lamar Jackson probably would have had like 5,000, 30 TDs, 15 rushing. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I hear that, but that ain't no quarterback sticking out like 2018. Because who won in 2018? When Chris McCaffrey had that crazy year, and he the number one seed too.
In 2019,
who won MVP? Lamar, not. And Lamar's numbers, I guarantee, is way better than it was than it is this year.
The only numbers that are better is his touchdown numbers, but his passing yards, his completion percentage, his attempts, his completions. This is a career year for him in that area.
Correct, yeah.
In that area.
Yeah, but he had 36 touchdowns and 6 interceptions.
Right. Yeah. He led the league. He led the league in passing touchdowns that year.
And I think he ran for 1,000 yards that year as well.
I think it was like 900, if I'm not mistaken.
Close, yeah, something like
close
that.
to it. Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. No, it was 1,200. It was 1,200 that year. I was thinking about
it. Was 1,200? Okay.
Yeah, it was 1,200.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's MVP.
That's MVP. That's MVP numbers.
Yeah,
that's MVP numbers.
But again, I think what we talked about, when you're on a better team, you're not going to do as much, and I think that's where it's going to come down to Lamar. I think, and again, what people are going to look at is his improvement as a quarterback. I think is going to factor into why he's ultimately going to get it. That he's in a brand new offense coordinator, blah blah blah. Obviously they added LBJ, who's been up and down this year, if we're being honest. Zay Flowers has probably been their most consistent wide receiver, who's a rookie. They lost Mark Andrews. They lost J.K. Dobbins.
Top 5 tight end in the league.
Yeah. They lost J.K. Dobbins, their starting running back. They lost Keith Mitchell, who was really, really good for them. So when you just look at kind of the moving parts that they've had to deal with offensively, he's kind of been the one steady piece. And again, they are the number one seed in the AFC, for a reason.
They have
the 49ers number one in the NFC too for a reason.
No, I'm not saying they're not. I'm just saying, again, all things equal, it's probably going to go to the quarterback.
To Axon Jackson, he said CD Lamb's first breakout year stopped the cap. I think that Cowboys helmet's been hit a little bit too hard, so your head ain't right. CD Lamb was balling last year as well. I don't know what he's talking
Yes, he
about.
was.
He just had a better year
No,
this year. He just had a way better year this year.
I want to ask both of y'all this question too before we go on to the next one because we get over an hour, so we got to get up out of here. So, but just to ask a question for the chat because I see Anti and Action Jackson arguing for Josh Allen and Dak Prescott because Dak does have some good numbers, Josh Allen too. Why neither one of you guys got Josh Allen and Dak as an MVP?
I don't think Dak's numbers would represent an MVP numbers if he. I just don't think Dak is. I don't think he impacts
valuable.
the team. Like I said, he has CD Lamb. They have a good team. The Cowboys are a good team. That's why everybody always think they're going to win it. It's just something about the Cowboys in general. It's like a curse since the '90s. And then
they sold for that both.
Yeah, Josh Allen was up and down all year. There was games you were questioning if he was doing the right things or not. Even though he still had a good year, he had 15 touchdowns rushing, which is great for a quarterback. But it's just, like you said, you can just see the impact. Christian McCaffrey's by far the best running back. Like he's just the better. He does everything: catching, receiving, running. He blocking. He was incredible all year round. Man. He was just the best player all year. I don't know. And that's not a Niner fan. That's more likely. That's more me being a fantasy football fan. If you were the fantasy football fan, you had Christian McCaffrey. You was happy week in, week out.
He gave you numbers. I was mad playing. Who got Christian McCaffrey in our league, Sean? Was it you?
I forgot. I think it might have been Young Boy. I can't remember. It didn't matter. I won the league.
And the offense is predicated around him. And the offense is predicated around McCaffrey.
Yes.
Dallas's offense is not predicated around Dak Prescott. It's basically predicated because they got CD Lamb and some good players.
You know a guy's worth MVP. Well, we know, and me and Sean been cracking jokes and calling Brock Purdy Jeremy Lin for the longest. Can he get out the Jeremy Lin saga because he's streaking and stuff? Where he in the MVP conversation because of his running back. Like, stop it, bro. He made Christian McCaffrey made y'all think Brock Purdy was worth putting the MVP title on him. Stop questioning who the MVP is for real. But if you go give it to a quarterback, my argument give it to CJ Stroud there.
Poker face Purdy. I call him Poker Face Purdy. No matter what happens, he has the same face. If we winning or losing, he has the same little child face. But go ahead, Sean. What do you think of Dak and
Josh
Allen's?
No, I mean, I just I think with Dak, when Dak was in the conversation, I think again the last 4 weeks was telling, right? Because again, we look at the Bills game, he wasn't good. Miami game, he was a little bit better in the Miami game, but they didn't win the game. And again, the question about the Cowboys going into these last few weeks was, can they win a big game on the road? And they haven't, and they didn't. So I think that hurt him in terms of the MVP narrative. The Detroit game, obviously, CD had a crazy game. I think CD had 12 for 210 or something like that. In that
crazy.
And they probably still should have lost that game. But that's another, we ain't even gonna go into that, whatever. So again, I think it was just that what lost it for him. I think Josh Allen has a better argument. But I think what's going to hurt Josh Allen is the last few weeks, because the last few weeks they've gone through James Cook. Last night they had to go through Josh Allen because the Dolphins did a good job of trying to take Cook out the game. But the last few weeks, that Bills offense has gone through James Cook. When you throw 14 passes in a game and you win, that tells me that your offense is going through your running game, which it did when they slapped the Cowboys. A few weeks ago. So I think those are the two things that kind of
hurt. Take that, Action Jackson.
Take that, Action Jackson. Now, look, we usually end on the recap, but I feel like Sean is going to go off because of this situation. So I think we're going to end the show. This is going to be the last segment of the day. Because I'll be talking about the games all day. And once again, Johnny, I appreciate you coming on. So we always know the story. Action Jackson in the chat. Shout out Action Jackson. Action Jackson and Sean had a bet that the Eagles will win the division. Sean picked that. Action Jackson, obviously, with the Cowboys hard head, he picked the Cowboys. We all laughed Action Jackson off. We can't lie, we did. All the Eagles had to do was beat the Giants, who are trash. Eagles told Sean by losing to the New York Giants 27-10, and at some point they were down again. It was down 20. So Action Jackson, you get your hooray and parade off this. But Sean, what happened? What? What happened, bro? And look,
I mean,
Sean
listen,
tried to you tried
yeah,
to pick the Cowboys the curse like because every time like we do like picks of the week, Johnny. So every time Sean ever picked the Cowboys, they always lose. So it's massive like you pick the Cowboys again and lose. These men showed up and showed out. All that they had to do was beat the Giants. They couldn't beat the Giants. The Eagles are done. But yeah, go
yeah.
ahead, Sean.
Well, no, listen. I mean, congratulations to the Cowboys for winning the division. We've seen the Cowboys win the division before, and it still didn't mean they got to the NFC Championship game. So, can you get to the NFC Championship game, Dallas?
Oh,
Because that's really what matters, right? Because you ain't been to the NFC Championship game since the Clinton administration. So, can you make it to the NFC Championship game? Because if you go out here and you win the division, but then you sell against Green Bay, or you sell next week against whoever you play, all of it's for naught. We've seen you literally go 13-3 and sell in the playoffs, right?
Wasn't they 15
So
and 1 one year? Wasn't there one year they was 15
I
Yeah.
think
and 1?
it might have been 14-2.
Oh,
I think
okay.
it
Yeah, I
was
had to lose
14-2, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So yeah, so no, so at the end of the day, no, the Cowboys won. The Eagles completely sold the last few weeks of the season, losing to Arizona, losing to the Giants. I mean, it's like I'm like,
He got his bone. Sean got to let him have it. He won. He got to let him have it today.
yeah.
He's about
So,
Saints play next week, Sean. Who they playing next week, Axel Jackson?
Hey, Axel Jackson, quick question: Where's your Super Bowl trophy from this century?
That's it. Like you can't argue that. I'm gonna have. Let me sit over. Let me have my team logo because we ain't got nothing else. So look,
I'm
I
about
ain't
to
gonna
hide
give you
mine
that.
because we ain't won since the 1900s neither. We ain't won since
Yeah.
the
At least, but y'all been competing. Y'all been competitive though. Y'all been
Yeah,
competitive though.
I'm just saying, So yeah,
Yeah.
it don't mean a thing if you don't win the ring. That's
Right,
all
you
I'm saying.
don't. No, that's true. I agree with that. But this has been episode. What we on episode 43, right? This is episode 43. All right. So Johnny, what we do on episode, when we the episode number, we tell what's our favorite player to wear that number. Obviously, maybe we caught you around episode 23. We knew your answer would have been Michael Jordan, of course, your favorite player, Michael Jordan. But if you had to pick a player to wear the number 43, if you think on top of the head, if you want to look it up, like just because sometimes you have to
look it
though.
up. Yeah, because
Go ahead.
43, a player wearing the number 43. I don't know. Let me see.
43. I already got mad because I in my Madden league I made a linebacker and I named his son. I named my player after him as a son. 43 for me. I had to go Steelers, Steel Curtain Way. Troy Polamalu, of course. I love how Troy Polamalu played. Troy Polamalu was a dog, brother. Dog. So I'm going Troy Polamalu. Sean, who you got?
I like Detroit Polamalu. I'm actually going another one. A lot of people forget about this guy. One of the best all-purpose players in NFL history, Darren Sproles.
Ooh, I love Darren Sproles' pick. I love that pick. As a Chargers fan, I love that pick. Yes, sir. I love that pick.
I got one for y'all. I really do got one for y'all. This guy's kind of cool. I like this guy's name, Jack Sigma. Since I'm a basketball
Jack Sigma,
Jack Sigma?
yeah.
Jack Big Sigma, big Jack Sigma.
Jack
I like
Sigma,
that.
Was the first the first stretch five. A lot of people don't really know that about him. He was the first stretch five. They played Milwaukee in the mid 80s, played an inverted offense. So they're 4 and 5. Jack Sigma and Marcus Johnson would often play away from the basket, and they would have Paul Presley and Sidney Moncrief kind of playing down low. Shout out Don Nelson, who kind of innovated that. But yeah, Jack Sigma, first stretch five.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I like that, man. I appreciate it. And Lamar, yeah, you man, we gotta catch you with it. Gotta get FYF on the show too. But Johnny, I appreciate you, my brother. I actually got you to talk football outside of LeBron James. Look, man, we got to do GOAT football kingdom next, man. We got to get you to talk football, man. I like you talk football, man.
If the Niners were 3-14, I'd have said, nope, I can't show. I can't.
He like, nah, hey man, I'm good. I'm good. I ain't gonna see you, man.
What you want to hear from me? We ain't got nothing to talk about.
Look, man. You see, hey, look. You see, I had this logo. I'm gonna put this logo on this Charger logo down by the hat over here, man.
Listen,
but man,
y'all good, though. Y'all were all right. Y'all had a bad year, but y'all will be good. Y'all got a good quarterback.
Yeah.
Y'all are straight.
We good. We got Jake Herbo.
Eckler took a step back this year.
Yeah, he was hurt, man. It was. I mean, when your coach is an idiot, and I can actually say that when your coach is an idiot, Brandon Staley. You know, it's what else can you do? You got a mouse trying to run an organization. You know what I'm saying? You got a dude with no arms trying to swim.
Well, that's better that than to have a dude who shouldn't be managing a Dairy Queen as your head coach. Shout
That's
out
true,
Dennis
too.
Allen.
That's true too. That's true too. So that's how it is. But appreciate you guys. Thanks again for Johnny coming on. Go James Kingdom. Once again, go like, go share, and go subscribe to Go James Kingdom. It's a great channel.
Thank you. Thank you.
He talks LeBron. He be exposing people all the time. The videos be hilarious. Hold up. One thing I do want to laugh at was you had a debate with somebody. And then you found out he was on like divorce court, made it a video hilarious, dog. I love that. And then the George Michael video. Hey, this man, if he cooked you, you go be on the Thanos. You see Johnny face with Thanos like this and chilling. And he like, yes, yeah, cook you, man. You have been exposed by the exposed. Go ahead, drop the button. You have been exposed by the exposer.
You have now been exposed by the exposer.
But
we catch us Sunday noon. Every Sunday noon, we do our show, Goat James Kingdom Show. You check out our platform. I go live Friday nights if you want to just have a conversation with me. We pick different topics every episode, and we talk basketball. So, again, if you know how to talk basketball, you don't have to worry about being exposed. But if you're a narrative-based guy, I'm sorry for you. Eventually, you will get a video made of you.
Yes, sir. And this is the channel right here. I'm going to drop the link again for everybody in the chat. GKW channel, Goat James Kingdom. Again, I know we've been chopping it up about getting on. And then also, Johnny, I'm going to need you again because the main show I was waiting on, but I had to get you on the show too once I was like, cause I didn't know that you rock with football too. But because I'm going to do the Start 5 podcast where I get 5 basketball content creators. We go talk. So, like I said, the first one got to be the GOAT debate. I really want you, B-Lee. I'm gonna get Bang too, and then probably like a couple of the Jordan guys. I want to hear y'all really chop it up because I know like y'all be real knowledgeable on it too. I gotta get some good guys because I'm like I can't put
Sean
you.
knows this thing over here. Sean knows some stuff over here. Sean's been.
Oh yeah, Sean go crazy.
Yeah,
Sean go. That's fucking Sean go crazy.
Fellas. Thank you, man.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you having me.
Hit that like button.
The like button, man, and then make sure y'all guys go subscribe to Go James King. I put the link in the chat. Appreciate you guys. And then we're going to be on to the next one. Johnny, I appreciate you having me on again, brother. And we are, we are out of here. Peace.
Peace. Thank you, gentlemen.
Rucker Man.